Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Do it light, take me through the night, shadow dancing. Boop.
I'm sorry.
Hello, I'm Charlene Schmidt.
I'm Patrick Schmidt.
We just got done watching Shadow Dancing, episode 21 of season 3, and we're gonna boogie on down in this episode of Babble for 5. So you might have not known, but before we got married, I watched you for 3 nights.
Well, now I know that you're Minbari. So they took that to the next level pretty fast.
Once you kiss, we're going for the courtship rituals.
Apparently. I mean, Minbari don't mess around.
They really don't. They commit.
Yeah, I'm going to watch you while you sleep is either a Minbari or a stalker.
And in the middle of this, we've got several battles going on.
So let's start with the fight against the shadow vessels. It was interesting to watch, and I liked the dynamics of how they got there and what it all turned into once the battle was over. But the actual battle itself,
Not much?
no. I mean, but it's never been that way for me. So.
I really noticed in this particular watch how well put together this sequence is, where they're mixing Franklin's battle with CGI sequences, and then they're jumping over to the telepaths. Yeah. And I really appreciated just how well put together it all was.
They used the battle as a metaphor for other things that were going on.
Yeah, maybe that's why I appreciated it so much, and you really do feel the tension. And I appreciate the fact that this is a very realistic battle. They're not winning by a landslide by any means. You know what, though, that said, for a first real concerted effort, pretty amazing that they even did as much as they did.
All of that was kind of the jumping off point for what's going to happen next, which is how the shadows are going to regroup and rebuild and then reattack, and I'm glad they addressed that in this episode.
Prediction time.
Okay.
Is that what's going to happen next episode?
No. Next episode, Delenn has to have it out with Wifey.
With Wifey. Anna Sheridan, hello.
Knock, knock, pew, pew. Now that she's back, I love it.
Is that why you're so happy about this?
Yes.
Is Anna going to be the relationship wrecker?
You know, that's my hope.
I'm so angry right now.
And, of course, John, he had to move on because he thought she was never coming back.
It took a lot for him to do that because he loved Anna so much. And then here we go, a big freaking shakeup that's going to knock him on his butt.
All Sheridan needs now is one more wife and he can match Londo. Yeah.
I'm not sure if I like this creative change. Speaking of relationships and people putting the moves on one another, Marcus, not giving up his game, the look that she gave him, those eyes could kill.
Yes.
He knew when to back off.
If I was in a situation where it was a 50-50 chance if I was coming back or not, yeah, I would shoot my shot too.
Yeah, so in a way you can't blame the guy, but this is potentially dangerous ground. How about we turn to Franklin, talk about the end of his walkabout. Turns out, if you lose enough blood, you really do see yourself and resolve your inner demons.
Hey, that's all of us need then, is just get stabbed. It'll solve the rest of your problems.
I mean, if it works, it works.
The walkabout had to end at some point. For it to end in MedLab, I think, is appropriate. Now, how he was going to get there was totally up for debate, but I think the fact that he ended up where he ended up, how he ended up there, not too surprising. And I think one of the things that Franklin learned about himself was how much work he still had to do on himself. Even in that, you don't have to beat yourself up to make that process go.
I think he got a lot out of his walkabout. I think it reminded him of the smaller things to be grateful for. I mean, he's starting at, I am alive, and he's learning to be grateful for that much. Now he has purpose and passion, which is what he lacked before. That was pretty satisfying the way it wrapped up, if you ask me.
But now he can move forward, and I think he's going to be better for it.
I agree. Also, Garibaldi, if a fellow addict watches another addict go down, they blame themselves for not helping enough, for not being there enough. He would have taken it really hard if, say, Franklin had just died in Down Below.
Just like Franklin's really hard on himself, Garibaldi's really hard on himself. I'm going to broadly overgeneralize here.
Okay.
but that's part of why they both became addicts in their own separate ways, is because they were so hard on themselves that nothing was good enough.
Yeah, and so thankfully, Franklin did survive. If it hadn't, I really think Garibaldi would have taken a 90-degree turn and we'd have 2 dead addicts. Well, how about this, Steer? We've only got 1 episode left in season 3. So you know what that means is after we wrap up everything, we're gonna, as we have in the last couple of seasons, we're gonna do a 1-hour live show. Just to give you all a heads up on that, we'll talk about the season as a whole, what we loved, what we didn't so much. It's your chance to ask us questions. It's going to be a freaking good time because we've built up the community that much more since the last season. We hope you can join us. We'll announce a time and a date as we get a little closer to that. We'll take our short break and then start ramping up for season 4. But before we get to that, we've got that one last episode.
We got one more episode to go, and that one episode is really going to determine a lot about how I feel about season 3. I can guarantee you that. So we're going to watch that last episode, and you'll be able to see the results of that in our next Babble for 5 next Sunday.
That's right. So please tune in. We love your comments. Just don't spoil what happens.
Thank you.
That's right. Remember, Patrick's watching the first time. If I don't say it, somebody will ruin it. But everybody's been really good about that. So thank you all. And till next week, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Do not go to Xanadu.
I want to try to end this show by thinking outside the box a little bit.
Okay.
And looking at the title of this show.
Shadow dancing.
Shadow dancing. But I think there might have been some other titles that might have been better.
Ooh, okay.
If we wanted to name this episode after Sheridan, Let's Spend the Night Together. If we were going to maybe name this show after Franklin and his troubles, Help! I need somebody, help! And if this show were named after Delenn, Feels just like I'm walking on broken glass.
Okay.